When I was talking about a dog bone for the nut, I wasn't kidding. Well, here's the neck with 12 coats. 12 coats. I thought I'd stop at a dozen. 12 coats of true oil. I'll get this cut to length and then start doing some hand sanding to get that fine-tuned to fit down in the slot. It's close. It's close to the right thickness, but I need to take a few thousandths off. Cut that off and some hand sanding, squared up the bottom, got it nice in the slot. So here is my half pencil. Sit this on the frets here and draw across the, oh boy, and hold it in the camera. All right, so there I've got at least an idea. That's going to be close to my string height. I've got a mark on this side here where the cutoff would be. I'm going to need a pair of vice grips, or I'm going to have some fingertip loss, which I've done before. I brought it down closer to the line, also introduced a little bit of an angle, so the front edge of the, or the fret side edge of the nut has more height than the back side, since the strings are coming, across at an angle down like this. So I will go back to my little strip of sandpaper. I don't even know where I printed this off, but I got it on the World Wide Web somewhere. And you just slide this up and down this little diagram until the ends of your nut are lined up correctly. Then you just make your little mark. All right, I just finished up this little doohickey. Took a piece of pickguard material. I was shooting for about 1.5 by 1.25-ish, and that's close. 3/8 hole for my jack, and then kind of eyeballed those 4 holes in the corner, and then did a little countersink on that, and that should be ready to go from a jack plate. And we are getting closer. I went ahead and took my nut files. I only have 3. I bought the from Stu Mac. I got the 028, so 28 thousandths, 20 thousandths, and 13 thousandths. Like the heavy strings, I start with the 28. The D of this kind of strings I use is 28 thousandths. So then I go from the D to I go to the 20 thousandths for my G string, which I think is actually 18. The actual string is. Then I go to the 13 thousandths for both my B and my E. I have found that those three files is enough. You don't need to have one for each gauge string. So I just at least mark them out with the file, and then I will file those to depth once I get this thing together and get it set up. All right, I'm going to try to put the ferrules in. It's been a couple days since I sprayed, so I'm going to try to put the old... Oh, that went in easier than I thought. When I first drilled these, I thought that this might have been a little tight, but that seems to have gone in without a whole lot of trouble. There we go. Huh, excellent. Now, there have been times before, using gloss clear coat, I have used a soldering iron to heat up the ferrule, to loosen up and heat up the lacquer so that you don't crack the finish going in. But with just 3-ish coats of satin, not too concerned. All right, now I did find out I am going to have an issue with the bridge fitment. I went ahead and soldered the base plate, ground wire on, got the pickups mounted in the bridge. This is the what model is this? Piezo 1. So the Brenner Piezo 1, that is the right one for a Telecaster with a traditional ashtray bridge. So when I put this bridge in, fed the wires through, this whole area, it needs to come back. Not thrilled about that. Before I do that, I typically use, these are Wilkinson, what does it say? Wilkinson Deluxe. I've used these before. They're the split shaft. Well, I need the ferrules. They're the split shaft tuning machines, like vintage Clusen style. So they have the split shaft on top, and they're just, say, Wilkinson Deluxe on the back. They're nickel plated. They work, and I like the looks of them. So this is what I typically use on my Telecaster builds. And they're like $30 a set. So it doesn't break the bank, and it looks good. And I just dropped it. There it is. So these ferrules have to go in the front of the neck in these holes here. So I am probably going to have to enlarge those. There's no way these are going to go into that maple very well. I have a little reamer tool that I got specifically for this reason. And so I typically have to take a little bit out. I mean, you don't want them loose, but you also don't want them to crack your headstock. That would kind of ruin your day. So I may have to take this to the, well, that might have been enough. All right, so I've got them lined up. I've got a little block under the headstock here. I just went down with a little nail and marked each hole position. They are lined up as best I can, and they actually fit nice and tightly together. All right, so I have my special depth gauge here. Those look good. Like it. Like it a lot. All right, I decided against the chisel, and I hope I don't regret this, but I'm going with the old Black & Decker, what do they call it now? RTX. RTX. Or used to be called the Wizard. I had a Wizard. That sucker, I burnt that sucker up. I used it so much. Yeah, this makes me nervous as you know what. Bridge screws are in. Had to finagle the bridge a little, or the saddle a little bit. I got those in. Okay. Wire in. I probably should have gotten some shielding paint to put in this sucker. I didn't. Sweet. Oh man, that is gonna be slick. Get my controls in there, my switch in there. I've got a gig Saturday. I really would love to use it there, but I don't know if it's gonna happen or not. I was sent the wrong washers and nuts for my 250K pots. Didn't fit, so I'm waiting for those to come in, and they're not going to be in before my gig tonight. So I'm hoping maybe I can get this assembled and play it tonight. What I ended up having to do, I took a 3/8 inch nut and drilled it out to actually fit over these shafts, drilled the threads basically out. Then I had to sand it to thickness to keep them the height I need. The other day, you were seeing me wire up the switch here. It's a 4-way switch there. So it's ready to finish the wiring, get the piezo wired, a mini toggle in there to switch and blend the piezo to the magnetic pickups, and so because these were the wrong size that I was sent, I had to actually steal, take the knobs off and steal the nuts and washers off of my LP Junior Tele, so that I can put those on here while I wait for the correct parts to come. Wiring is finally done. I hope. So that's the wiring I used for my piezo. Passive tone and volume controls. They may work like crap. I don't even know. But I'm going to try it. And if I don't like it, then I will probably ditch that, make this other tone control an additional tone control for the magnetic pickups, and then put a preamp pot, basically. I think Fishman makes one. I can just drop that in, and that will control the piezo. I could still blend them using the mini toggle, so yeah, it'll be fine, maybe. So it's time for me to secure the jack plate in here. Got to drill some holes there. I'm gonna string this sucker up and see if it actually makes some noise. I obviously still have to make the back cover. Maybe I have to do that. All right, I use Ernie Ball power slinkies, I think they're called. 11 through 48. Just what I've always used on my electrics. Now I have no idea about my bridge height at this point. Oh, don't even have my nut in there. Sheesh. Can't go without your nut. Okay. So with these split shaft tuners, take it 2-ish posts above where your string belongs. Cut it there. Then shove that sucker down in the post. Bend it like that. And start cranking. Now, I probably should have grabbed I have I probably put too much on that low E. I have a string winder. I should have grabbed it. And you want your windings, your wrappings, to go down the post as you wind. I may have to undo this and cut some more off of that. The low E is a little obviously fat, and so yeah, that might be about right. I will wash, rinse, and repeat for 5 more strings, like I did the low E, and then hopefully it'll be on to setup. Well, I've been kind of knocking some things off the list. Finally got the knobs put on, got the switch tip put on, obviously got all the strings put on, had to adjust the pickup height, and take those stupid rubber springy deals off, and so that let me raise the pickup here, raise the neck pickup a little bit, got the action set up fairly well, did a little intonation, had to move the saddle back just a little, cut my nut slots all to depth. I have needle files, and my squared off needle file is 50 thousandths and the low E is 48. So it works out perfectly. Then the only string that's kind of an issue is the A string. I don't have a file that is 38 thousandths. So I combined I have one that's a taper, comes down. And so I use that in there. And then I also use the 13 thousandths and the 28 thousandths together and kind of get that one cut. And then the rest of them, I cut them for a while until I, think I'm getting close. Slide the string back in. I usually fret here on the 3rd fret and then push down to see how much I've got there. I probably need to take the low E down a little bit more. So I just do one of those things until it just seems about right. And I forget how many thousandths I usually go to, but whatever. It's set up pretty well. I didn't even have to make a truss rod adjustment. There's a little bit of relief, and that's perfect. My 1/4 inch jack, that's for the tip right there, and it was hitting the wood. You can see where I chiseled there on the left. It was actually hitting the hole, and I've never had this issue before, so I don't know why exactly this is happening, but it just didn't act like that wanted to get in there and get into place. So I needed to move some wood out of the way so that could bend back, so I could get my 1/4 inch in there. All my capacitors, I normally use orange drop, but it doesn't matter. I just grabbed some. I was on Amazon. It was like a 150 piece set of capacitors because I knew I was going to need a couple of 0.0022 capacitors for my acoustic circuit, which I'm not thrilled with. I have actually fired it up, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that. Electrically, though, the magnetics, that sounds pretty good. But I've got to get my control cavity cover done real quick. So I got to get that complete. I actually have a gig in, what time is it? Let's see. Little less than 3 hours. So I got to get the control cavity done, put that on there, and I think I am going to bring this tonight and take it for a test drive. All right, let's see if I can get this marked out. What I don't know is I don't know if this pencil even writes on this plastic. All right, I figured I could not see that line over here at the bandsaw, so I just taped it on, and I'll just follow the template. All right. Well, that should work. Well, that was a happy accident. I hadn't really thought about which side would be facing out, and luckily I put the template on so that the fresh, unexposed, plastic covered side will be out. Oh, good. I'll drill through the cover and the body. Now I probably should take some 500 or not 500, 600 or finer sandpaper around the outside edge just to clean it up a little bit. Looks like I'm going to have to order myself some more pick guard material. Just about used it up on this sucker. Awesome. All right, I've got my screws in my pocket. So literally, it took about 10 minutes to make a cover, and it took between this template, the inner control template, and then the recessed template, I don't even know how much time I've got in that. Well, I finished it up, and I used it in the gig the other night. It plays really well. I like the way it plays. I like the intonation is spot on. I've had to make a couple of saddle adjustments, bringing it back a little further, but I mean, it's good. Trying to still kind of figure out what kind of tones I can get out of it. The piezo needs some help. It's a little weak of a signal because I'm running it through passive controls, so that's not ideal. Either a preamp or a pedal. I don't want anything in the guitar. Either a preamp pedal or a EQ pedal, something I can boost the signal just a little, is really all I need. The mags, I think, sound great. The P90 is a little, I don't want to say muddy, but, and it's growing on me, but I don't use the tone at all, back in the tone off. Even the bridge pickup, I mean, doesn't seem ice pick to me. But again, I'm playing this through a PA. So there will be another video coming up of me playing this through the PA with a condenser mic mic'd up right there on it. But I am thrilled with the guitar. I think it turned out just like I had hoped and envisioned. So I am a happy camper. This right here, I don't know how, if I can get some good shots in there or not, but I mean, the binding just looks great, in my opinion. The, oh man, I got a scuff already. What is going on right there? But the root beer burst, it's fantastic. So anyway, that concludes the build. Again, keep your eye on a possible video of the kind of sounds and stuff I'm getting out of it. Oh, and I forgot, I did record a little bit and put it in there on this video as some background music. Pardon the terrible playing. Anyway, I just kind of wanted to throw something in there real quick just so you kind of would hear what that would sound like. And I can't remember if I may have been in the neck position for most of that. Maybe the bridge for the rhythm part and the neck for the lead stuff. I can't remember. But anyway, thanks for coming along on the old journey with me here. Hopefully there'll be some Mustang stuff coming up soon, some car stuff. So yeah, hey, stick around, click the old, like and subscribe or whatever those little do-whitsies are. And yeah, we'll see you next time.